My name is Luca Del Deo, and today I am introducing you all to an unusual meditation practice called Tulpamancy. I first learned of this practice as a teenager, when I became intrigued by the idea of meditation as a form of mental health treatment. My exposure to meditation until that point was mainly through psychology textbooks and popular media. Unable to find a meditation that fit my needs in those places, I dug deeper into internet rabbit holes, obscure books, eventually even backpacking in India. Along the way, I encountered dozens of intriguing methods by which to meditate, many of them challenging the limited cultural definitions of meditation I previously possessed. One of the unusual meditations I encountered on this journey was Tulpamancy. Though I never followed this meditation, it is an excellent example of what I experienced, the diverse ways meditation practice can influence our mental health, our internal landscapes. The great diversity of meditation practices is why I am here today, both because it inspired me to pursue a career in the study of meditation techniques, and because adopting various techniques improved my well-being enough that I could realize this dream. I might even say that meditation saved my life. After I experienced how access to a wide range of meditation techniques helped me, I became intrigued by how new meditation practices could inform Western models of mental health and treatment. This drove me to complete a bachelor's degree at Boston University with majors in religion, philosophy, and psychology, and to pursue graduate study in a field I hope to see become increasingly popular. That is, an interdisciplinary study of meditation and how new practices could shape our lives for the better. How Tulpamancy in particular might change our lives is not entirely clear yet. This is a practice that arose out of the tumultuous depths of the internet. Unlike many of the meditation techniques circulating the common sphere today, this one developed on 4chan and Reddit instead of in Tibet or India. Around 2010, a couple of meditation guides were published anonymously on the website 4chan. By 2012, a page of the forum Reddit was dedicated to this meditation practice, where it quickly became an inclusive community. This forum recently reported over 40,000 members. However, due to the unusual result of Tulpamancy practice, the portion of this number that call themselves Tulpamancers is likely very small. That is because Tulpamancy meditation seems to radically change certain aspects of one's life. It does not make anyone enlightened. It does not necessarily reduce stress or bring about insights into the nature of reality. It might make people more compassionate, but this is a side effect of the goal. No, Tulpamancy creates friends. Tulpamancy describes a collection of meditation and visualization techniques that make an imaginary friend feel real. Despite being conceptually intuitive, the term imaginary friend is actually a little pejorative in this case, because these relationships are far from imaginary for those who have them. Through a consistent meditation practice, sometimes over an hour a day, Tulpamancers learn to experience this friend almost as vividly as they might perceive any of us. Their imaginary friend is not so imaginary after a time. They call it a tulpa. The word tulpa has a rich history in European occultism and originates in thought from a branch of Tibetan Buddhism. For our purposes, however, it refers to the autonomous and distinct companion that exists within one's mind, as understood by the Tulpamancy tradition. Autonomy is a really important word here. It means that the tulpa is not a puppet. Imagine there's another person in your head making their own decisions and with a distinct personality. This is a tulpa. And through visualization practices, You can even learn to see that tulpa in the room with you. Their voice can become as real as any other sound. You might even be able to gently touch them, though this sensation is likely very faint. The peculiar claims of tulpamancy do not stop there. Advanced tulpamancers can allow a tulpa to control their body, similar to cases of spirit possession in cultures around the world. Tulpamancers may also create a vividly imagined landscape in which they can interact with their tulpa, like a lucid dream on demand. Tulpamancy may be a time-consuming practice, but it is not necessarily a difficult one. Any of us could easily access dozens of these meditation guides written in plain English through forums like Reddit or tulpa.io. These guides are sometimes only a couple of pages long, yet they describe the process comprehensively. The variety of guides means many variations on a technique exist, so that no one is pigeonholed into a practice that doesn't work for them. The techniques themselves are easy to follow, straightforward, and accessible to people who have never meditated before. To me, the collaborative way Tulpamancy developed speaks to the potential of building meditation techniques as a community. The idea of finding what works and making it accessible to those who need it, treating meditation innovation like a kind of cultural technology. The emphasis on accessibility means Tulpamancy is easy to adopt by those in need, and the people who need it might be especially grateful for that. Some surveys suggest that Tulpamancers often experience some kind of challenge to their mental health, like anxiety or depression, things that normally inhibit meditation practice. The typical profile of a Tulpamancer might be a person who experiences social inhibition that limits their prospects for a fulfilling social life. They may also be well-educated, male, enjoy computer science between the age of 20 and 30, and live in North America. This is a demographic that, for some reason or another, has turned to a meditation practice from the internet to find a form of social connection that they might not get through their family, their religion, or their community. Maybe they want a friend who appreciates their interest in programming. Maybe they need someone who laughs at the same jokes. Through this meditation, they can have that, while they work on finding community in their material life. A tulpa also provides a second opinion, like a personal advisor in your head. A tulpa may be a created being, but it is also one with distinct thoughts and motivations. It likely lacks the traumas, biases, and fears of the tulpamancer who created them, meaning that tulpas might offer something new to those conversations that take place inside one's head. Personal accounts suggest that a tulpa is a being who supports the tulpamancer when things are bad, when they feel alone, when they need a friend. Some people find that support through religious connections. Tulpamancers find it with a being they create in meditation. My fascination with tulpamancy is not limited to how it already helps people. I wonder what else could meditations like this suggest about the human experience? For example, do tulpas have separate memories? Events can be more memorable for some than for others based on their interests. So, would a tulpa more interested in math remember more from a math lecture? Could a tulpa with a personality that enjoys music help someone to learn how to play the guitar faster? If it is possible to vividly see a humanoid being, then what else is it possible to make oneself perceive through meditation? These questions might connect to theories in cognitive science, and particularly those that relate to the idea of top-down processing. This is the idea that mental models, think of those as expectations, can become perceptions. Basically, this suggests that expectations can inform our senses, even our sense of sight and touch. This could be how tulpamancers experience their tulpas. They create a mental model and train their minds to rely upon that mental model as a perceived phenomenon. In other words, they may have learned how to take control of this top-down perceptual process. This kind of agency over something normally unconscious could inform research on the relationship between expectation and physiology, how expectations can change the way our bodies react to the world. Through simple acts of visualization, tulpamancers teach their bodies to expect such wildly unexpected bundles of perception as an entire being. A similarly repeatable and systematic approach to creating other kinds of expectations might be a promising way to research the mind-body connection. The biggest takeaway I would leave with you all is that tulpamancy is just one example of how great an impact the behaviors of our minds can have on our lives. There is already plenty of evidence showing how mindfulness meditation can improve mood and relieve stress. However, a meditation practice that changes something as integral as the number of people inside our head should test the limits of what we think is possible through mental practices. It begs us to challenge how much of our internal mental landscape is fixed. How much can we change our opinions, our detrimental mindsets, our self-imposed limitations? Tulpamancy is an example of what is possible in the field of new and unusual meditation research. This tradition illustrates an unconventional means of finding health and belonging, one where people rely upon themselves to create the community they require. This practice is likely not for everyone, and I see the potential for it to contribute to unhealthy experiences for some individuals. That it might already have made some people's lives healthier, however, is meaningful and is a sign of how alternative modes of being can bring about a sense of community, wholeness, comfort. These meditation practices suggest that within our minds, we can have a huge amount of power over what occurs. When I was younger, I experienced many of the same challenges to my mental health as tulpamancers. Though I found benefits for my health from other meditation practices, I still have a deep appreciation for what it means to find new ways of interacting with the people and thoughts inside our heads. Currently, my work at the Harvard Divinity School focuses on studying a variety of meditation practices like tulpamancy, how they change our minds, our perceptions, and our relationships with the world. The future of this field likely requires developing comparative frameworks for the research of these meditation techniques, frameworks that also hold space for the ethical complexity of meditations that often arrive from distant cultures. Such frameworks could allow us to innovate in these practices and tailor them to specific psychological needs, finding unique practices to help people with unique needs, such as my own and those of people who practice tulpamancy. These new and unusual meditations can create benefits we never realized we wanted, such as a helpful voice in our heads. Thank you.